You see that car parked over there? That's the newest member of the PetrolBlog fleet. And last week I drove home for Christmas in it. So I thought it was about time we showed you what it's all about. For those of you fortunate enough not to follow me on Twitter, I drove up, well actually no, I didn't drive up to London. I took a train to London on the last Saturday before Christmas to buy this £200 Renault Safrane, pretty much unseen. All I knew was that the chap who owned it had owned it for about 20 years, and the MOT history was one of the cleanest MOT histories you're ever likely to see on a Renault of the 1990s. I mean, it was almost perfect, but there was enough advisories and enough problems to know that it's all mean for real. And I decided to take a punt. To my eyes, it's a very beautiful and handsome looking French executive car of the 1990s. And some people in this country probably have never seen a Safrane because it was last on the road, well, it died out in the year 2000, having only been introduced in 1992. As a 1998 car, this is a facelift edition, so it's got a different front end. And you'll see in a minute that the back is slightly different, but yeah, it's pretty much the same car that was launched in 1992. And I think the Safrane was the first Renault to have airbags, but I might be wrong on that. So somebody will correct me. So yeah, I thought I'd do a quick introduction to the newest member of the fleet. I've had this, well, just before Christmas, so what, a week? Maybe just over a week yesterday. And yeah, some people would call it dangerous, stupid, foolish, ridiculous to drive home in a £200 Safrane on the last Saturday before Christmas. But hey, Chris Rea did it, although he didn't do it in a Safrane. So, well, he may have done. Answered on the postcard. I still think he drove home in a Granada, but I don't think he did it in a Safrane. So this is pretty much as purchased, as collected from Clapham last Saturday. I've washed it this morning, and the paintwork is the paintwork would be best described as blackboard. It's quite rough, but I happen to think it will come up well. Firstly, a bit of housekeeping. I'm afraid the microphone broke 2 minutes ago, so if it's a bit distorted, I do apologise. And for health and safety reasons, the fire exit is just over there. So any problems, there's your fire exit. So let's take a closer look. As you'll see here, it's got the original number plates, originally supplied by Renault in Swindon, making this the finest thing to come out of Swindon since Melinda Messenger. Scrolling down, I always say scrolling down, no one ever uses the word scrolling in everyday life. Anyway, moving down, 15-inch wheels from a day when executive people rolled around in cars with 15-inch rims, and you'll see that it's a bit of a double-edged sword, this one. It's a 2-litre engine, so it's the smallest engine you could get, but it's got the executive trim, so it's French diplomat, company car man, so it's a bit of a best of both worlds. Although when you look at the specs, the 2-litre wasn't that much slower than the 5-cylinder engine to 60, and only slightly slower top end as well, but it had about 4 miles per gallon extra better fuel economy. So best of both worlds. You can take your money, paid your choice. This was 21 grand. This was £21,000 in a day, which was £2,000 more than the standard 2-litre model, and I think about 3 grand less than the 5-cylinder version. But 21 grand, that didn't even get you an entry-level 5 Series or an entry-level 6 E-Class back in the day. Although Renault never really pitched this against the Germans. They saw it more of a kind of more upmarket version of maybe something like the Passat or one of the sort of run-of-the-mill big cars of the day. So yeah, it's not really a competitor for the Germans. Moving around to the back, again, original plate on the back, which is always a bonus in PetrolBlog circles. Down the side, it's pretty good. I don't know how much of the paintwork is original, but it looks pretty clean. I do know that from the mountain of service history, I do know that the bonnet saw a bit of paint back in the early days, but it's easy to match black. And I don't know, someone can probably tell me on this, but I don't know if the headlights are meant to be smoked. It gives it a kind of a gangster look, kind of Ronin spec, if you like. But again, I don't know if that's standard to this. I'm guessing that's just old age. But they look quite good. Yeah, like I say, the paintwork is almost blackboard rough, and so I'm going to be trying getting that up before before the new year. But yeah, it looks pretty good, I think. And it drives superbly. Almost as comfortable as the Mercedes. Slightly less wallowy than the Mercedes. The steering's nice, and remarkably, most things work, and we'll come on to that in a separate video because this is more of an introduction, but remarkably for a 1998 Renault that cost, let's remember, £200, most things do work. Right, I know that most of you are dying to get inside this thing, so let's do that. Now, as the replacement for the Renault 25, it was kind of criticised for not having the kind of eccentric interior that we get used to in French cars. But compared to some of its rivals of the day, it certainly looks. There's certainly some French touches. Should we call it that? Some French touches. Let me just level up the steering wheel because that's sort of a pet hate of mine. Let's move that round. Oh my God, the steering's not on. There we go. Heavy steering when you haven't got power steering. Okay, obviously power steering when the ignition's on. Okay, so pretty standard fare, very clean, very sophisticated dials. French touches, well, here are some French touches for you. Let's shut the door. Little vents that can be pushed back or can move up. They don't tend to stay off. Let's look at that. That's the Frenchness for you. They've been staying up all day since I bought it. And now today, when I'm trying to do the video, they decide to do that. So you know you're in a French car. I also think the door handles are French. Kind of like throttle style door handles. And I also like the way that the electric window switches kind of tilted towards you. I quite like that. That's a neat touch. The infotainment system, as they are called today, is hidden behind here. Just the radio cassette player in this one. No CD auto changer in this version. That would have, I think, would it have been there? Probably. I don't think that was a graphic equalizer. I think that was where the CD went. Glove box, ashtray and cigarette lighter. And of course it's a French executive car. It has been smoked in, obviously. That's just par for the course with these things. What else can I say? We'll come on to this bit in a minute. That's going to go on to the next video, actually. Dual zone climate control in the executive model. And if French diplomat wanted to know, he could change the temperature to Fahrenheit, which is obviously very important. Cruise control, which I guess for its day was quite a thing. Is you turn it on here and you control it via the bottom of the steering wheel there. I think the interior, given the fact this thing's on 134,000 miles, I think the interior is scrubbed up and has maintained its sort of shine pretty well. And remarkably, although I can't do this at the moment because we're not moving, there are no squeaks, no rattles, no creaks. It's just amazing. It's really held up very well, which I think is a testament to having an owner for nearly over 20 years and being serviced on the dot every year. Seriously, in another video, I'll show you the service history of this. It's quite remarkable. This shows you the mileage. If there's any indication of the mileage, it's the center console lid. And in there, of course, you've got the cup holder. Not the cup, what do I say cup holders for? Coin holder and my broken microphone, which is going to cost me the equivalent of half a Safrane to replace, probably. Air conditioning, which I'll come on to on another video. Switch, which I'll come on to. It's a very surprising switch, that one, which I'll come on to in another video. What else can I show you? Well, up here, there's a little bit that comes down to block out the sun when the two visors are down. Again, I think that's standard fare, really, but it's a neat touch. Moving up here, we've got French diplomat somewhere to put his sunglasses, very important. We also have, which is a bit of a dreaded thing on French cars of this era, it has a sunroof, which works, but I'll come on to that in another video. Moving to the back, plenty of room for your French children. Other children are available. Plenty of leg room. That seats not all the way back, but plenty of leg room, plenty of growing room. Although it's interesting that French executive or French diplomat children didn't get electric windows. They had to keep fit in the back by doing it themselves. There we go. Ashtrays for the French children to smoke, because obviously children in France smoke from the age of 6. The centre cubby with a holder there for your cigarettes, probably. More cigarette holders here, because you never have too many cigarettes in France. I think the 2.5 version had maybe heated rear seats, don't know, but I reckon that was filled up with something. But in the 2 litre version, you didn't quite get that. You do get this wonderful, or evocative fake wood, beautifully sumptuous door pockets, and then in the cavernous boot. And this is interesting, it's worth mentioning this, because most executive cars of the era were saloons. Renault took a different approach and made a hatchback, which means you get a rear wiper. Very posh. And a cavernous boot, properly big, with a very important Dacia gilet. Yeah, no wet. There was a little bit of dampness here when I picked it up. You can see where water's been sat there, but the wheel well, which is easy for me to say, is dry. It's got the original spare wheel and tyre in there. I'm guessing that's where a CD auto changer would have lived. Again, haven't checked that out yet. Someone can correct me on that. But yeah, I think there's going to have to be a job that needs to be done with all the drainage holes, because I think probably water's coming in via these. There's plenty of gunk. There's also lots of moss that's built up. This is lived outside. I mean, it's lived off the road. It's lived off the street all its life, but it's lived outside all its life. So things like this are going to have to be sorted. And I'm hoping, because I'm going to let into a secret now, which is won't come as a surprise, but the sunroof does leak. Not by much, but the sunroof does leak. Now, clearly, the seals, they're not totally brittle like the Clios, so it might be okay. And I'm hoping that, as I did with the Laguna, just by clearing out the drainage holes, it might improve things. Oh, you can notice there it's got the heat insulated window, which was standard on the executive model, I believe. I will do a separate video on what's standard and what's not. It's got the spoiler for added car park glamour, very important in the Little Chef car park back in the day. But I have to say, for £200, the bodywork and the wheels are in remarkably good shape. That is a handsome looking thing. I think it's aged remarkably well. Obviously the front fog lights do need to be yellow, and that will be sorted out maybe even before the next video, you never know. But I just wanted to give you a brief introduction to the latest purchase. See what you think, because I think these are rare beasts. I think there's fewer than 100 on the road. You're never quite accurate. The How Many Left website isn't 100% accurate, but I think there's about 100 or fewer on the road. And that seems about right. I can't remember the last time I saw one on the road. If you own a Safrane and you're from the UK, give me a shout, say hello. Drop in on PetrolBlog.com and say hello. So yeah, this is it's two things really. It's the re-emergence of the PetrolBlog YouTube channel. Sorry for the delay. This year has been a mixture of just boring, depressing things that I won't bore you with. Life's too short to give you all my problems, but there's a reason why the 406 Coupe is stalled. There's a reason why there has been no video content, but all that's going to change. So I am going to do that horrible thing and say please like and subscribe, because this channel, this YouTube, this PetrolBlog thing needs your help and support to keep what is now 12 cars on the fleet. 12 cars that need to be kept on the road, kept maintained and preserved for future generations. Most of them are rare. Some of them are boring, some of them are rubbish, some of them are interesting, some of them are fast, some of them are really slow. Some of them are like this Safrane, which is unexpected. But it could have been scrapped. That's the really sad thing about this. It could have been scrapped. I wasn't going to let that happen, not with the service history and not with the MOT history and not with the fact that it's a big, bloody great Renault. So in the next video, I'll be cleaning this. Well, I'll show you what it's like after I've tried to bring this paintwork back. I honestly think the paintwork's going to come up well. You know, there's a few dents, but nothing major. There's a little car park dent there. It's remarkably free of scratches and also remarkably free of corrosion. The only thing I've noticed is just down on the arch here, but I mean that's nowhere near how bad it could be. And I think that's probably because it's lived in London doing fewer than 1,000 miles a year for the last few years. So it hasn't been exposed to too much salt. So, but I think if we get that sorted before it gets too bad, that'll be a good thing. But looking down the side, it's very clean. And very, very, what's the word I would use? Straight. That's what a car dealer would say. It looks straight down there. But like I say, the next video will be showing you what it's like after its first wax, because I think it's going to come up an absolute treat. Then I'll talk you through the service history, and I'll point out all the things that are wrong with this car, which for a car of this budget is surprisingly few. There's also another car to introduce you to, which I'll do in a separate video. And also we've got to get that 406 coupe back on the road, because I think I've had more comments and certainly views on that than any other video over recent years. So I know there's a lot of love for that 406 coupe, but hopefully there's a lot of love for the Safrane. When was the last time you saw one? Hopefully you'll be seeing a lot more of this. So do like and subscribe. Do visit PetrolBlog.com. If you're feeling generous, put a donation in the bucket, and then we'll keep these cars moving, because PetrolBlog is going to buy the cars that nobody else does.